Alright, fellow hunters, time to look at the second episode of the day, which is It's a Terrible Life. In a nice apartment, Dean wakes up, dresses in a suit, and drinks coffee. He goes inside and starts his car, a silver Prius. The radio is set to a rock station and quickly changes it to NPR. He drives to work at Sandover Bridge and Iron Ink, where he enters the office of Dean Smith and goes to work. The day is spent making sales calls and chatting with coworkers and his boss, Mr. Adler. As he leaves for the day, Dean enters the elevator and stands next to Sam, who is wearing a tech support shirt. Sam looks at Dean and asks if they know each other. Dean doesn't think so. The next day, Sam is in a cubicle labeled Sam Wesson, answers phone queries about broken computers. He talks with fellow worker Ian, a nonconformist who refuses to wear the tech support uniform and steals office supplies. Sam tells Ian about his dreams, in which he hunts things. For some reason, Dean Smith appears in these dreams. When Sam shares another elevator with Dean, he asks him if he thinks about ghosts, or if he ever has strange dreams. Dean says no, and informs Sam that he overshares. Back at tech support, Sam looks up supernatural creatures on the internet while answering more inane computer questions. He comes over to say that he has received a message summoning him to the HR department. They share a joke about stolen office supplies, and Ian heads off to the meeting. Sam overhears another worker, Paul, talking to his computer. Paul is agitated. The computer froze, and all his work for the day has been lost. Sam tells him not to worry too much, but Paul is sure and keeps trying to restore the files. Late at night, after everyone else has left, Paul still frantically searches for the lost work. At last he gives up, saying that he has failed. He heads to the break room, opens the microwave, jams broken plastic forks in the safety latch, and sets the timer for 10 minutes. He then sticks his head inside. Screaming and smoke follow. Next morning, both Sam and Dean are present as the body is carried out of the break room. Independently, they each look at Paul's employment file and discover that he was planning to retire in 2 weeks. Sam mentions this to Ian, but he refuses to be distracted from his work. Ian is wearing the tech support shirt and working feverishly. Ian receives a message ordering him to speak to a manager, and he goes to Dean Smith's office. Dean tells him that a form Ian filled out had minor errors and needs to be fixed. Ian becomes distressed, apologizes and moans that he has failed the company. Dean tries to reassure him that it is an insignificant error, but Ian runs out of the office. Dean follows him to the men's room, where Ian is staring at himself in a mirror. The breath becomes visible, and all the faucets in the room turn on. Suddenly, Ian pulls a pistol out of his pocket and stabs himself in the neck. Dean rushes over as Ian gushes blood. Dean catches a glimpse of an old man in a mirror, but no one else is in the room. Ian's body is removed while Sam watches and Dean talks to security. Later, Dean calls Sam up to his office. Dean asks who Sam is. Sam says they were working at the company 3 weeks ago. This is the same time that Dean began working there. Sam realizes that Dean saw a ghost. He believes the two suicides are ghost-related. Dean says this instinct is the same. Sam tells Dean that both Paul and Ian had been summoned to HR room 1444 not long before their deaths, and afterward became obsessed with serving the company. They decided to go to the room in question to look around and discover another tech support employee being attacked by a ghost. Sam creaks in the door and Dean swings an iron wrench at the ghost. It disappears. At Dean's apartment, they do research. Going on the Ghostfacer's website, they search for the identity of the ghost. It's the late P.T. Sandover, the company's founder. He screened modern employees out of unwilling workers. Room 1444 was his office. While Sandover was cremated, they assumed some part of him remains in the building. With salt and fireplace pokers, they returned to the room to look around. Sam is spotted by a security guard, who takes him to the elevator while Dean continues to look around. The television screen in the elevator goes static. The elevator breaks down, and the guard climbs out. The inspector helps him out, but a sudden jerk of the elevator decapitates him. Sam manages to get out, and Dean calls up instructions to go to the 22nd floor where a pair of Sandover's gloves are kept. As they reach for the gloves, they are attacked by Sandover's ghost. After a struggle, Sam manages to burn the gloves, and the ghost disappears. In Dean's office, they talk about the experience. Sam suggests that they quit their jobs and fight ghosts instead. Dean says it wouldn't work, that they would have to live off of diner food and stolen credit cards, and they'd have no health insurance. Sam said Dean is in his dreams about hunting, that he believes that this is not their real life, that something has been done to them. Sam says he knows Dean and that this life isn't him. Dean orders Sam to leave, saying that Sam knows nothing about him. The next day at work, Sam uses one of the fireplace pokers to beat his ringing phone into pieces. He announces that he quits. Dean is working in his office when his boss, Mr. Adler, comes in. He talks to Dean about his work and his future, offering him a bonus and telling him that if he works 7 days a week for 10 years, Dean can be his senior VP. Dean hesitates and tells Mr. Adler he is giving his notice. He says that he has decided that's not who he's meant to be. Adler laughs and taps Dean on the forehead. Suddenly, Dean Smith is Dean Winchester again. He questions his whereabouts and stares at Adler, realizing that he must be an angel. The man confirms this, saying his name is Zachariah and that he is Castiel's superior. He came to Earth after the situation with Uriel and planted Sam and Dean at this company without their memories, so that Dean could realize that he is a hunter through and through. While Dean may be hung up on hell, his family, and the potential apocalypse, his life is better than it could be. Dean threatens the angel, but agrees with his point. So anyway, let's take a look at some continuity surrounding this episode. During the Ghostfacers tutorial, the host repeatedly mentioned the brothers Winchester in a bitter and disparaging manner. This is because the boys destroyed a massive amount of footage in a previous episode, Ghostfacers. This episode introduced the angel Zachariah. While Hunter Smith persona, Dean is shown engaging in activities that he normally would be disdainful of, such as eating salad, going on cleanses, and disliking rock music. Sam has a little bobblehead Dracula on his desk, which is out after Lugosi's Dracula from the classic films. This may be a reference to the episode Monster Movie from earlier in the season, in which a shapeshifter, so enamored of classic horror films, took the shape of the Lugosi Dracula and dressed like him, but is likely just an easy representation of a recognizable creature from Sam's real life. Sam and Dean are shown behaving in ways normally associated with the other. Sam is more inquisitive about the supernatural and eager to act, while Dean is more hesitant and favors normalcy. This is symbolic of how the two have changed throughout the season. While talking to Zachariah, Dean says, "Angel or not, I will stab you in the face." Later in the 5th season, Dean would do exactly that. Zachariah manipulated Dean's memories to forget his whole life, so it's highly likely he put a wall in his mind, because not even death could erase Sam's cell memories. And now finally, let's take a look at some trivia surrounding this episode. The title of this episode is a play on the Christmas movie classic It's a Wonderful Life. When Dean mentions his family, he tells Sam his father's name is Bob, his mother's name is Ellen, and his sister's name is Jo. One can assume he is referring to Bobby Singer, Ellen Harvell, and Jo Harvell, all whom Dean has a close relationship with. Likewise, when Sam mentions ex-fiancée Madison, whose phone number directs to an animal hospital. This alludes to Madison from Heart. Interestingly, a future love of Sam's turns out to be a veterinarian. Sam and Dean's surnames, Dean Smith, Sam Wesson, in this episode are a reference to the manufacturer of handguns, Smith & Wesson. Horace Smith and Daniel Wesson helped in the creation of the Winchester Firearms Company. As tech support, Sam's most frequent said phrases, "Have you tried turning it off and on again?" This is likely a reference to the British sitcom The IT Crowd, where the tech supporters answer every incoming call with a sentence. The number for the room the victims visit is 1444. Added individually, the numbers equal 13, a traditionally unlucky number. Well, not in the case of Taylor Swift, but still. Anyway, the CW's official summary for this episode mistakenly puts Jared's name twice. Interesting. So overall, I really do like this episode, and yeah, I like the fact that it's kind of like somewhat of an alternate reality thing, but it's not really, so yeah, but still, anyway, I still like it anyway, so yeah. So overall, I give It's a Terrible Life 5 Impalas out of 5. Well, you tune in a bit as we take the final episode of the day, The Monster at the End of This Book. So, until then, carry on, my wayward sons and daughters.